My name is Sophia. I live in Texas in a small town called Groom. Now, personally, this story isn't one of my own, but my cousin from Oklahoma. His name is Alex, and as he doesn't like talking about this situation, I decided to present the issue. At my school, we were given a week off, and, well, my family decided to take advantage of this and invite some family members over to spend the week. They agreed and came over, coming along later more so in the evening. When me and Alex saw each other, he suggested we some games or chat to keep us entertained, so I took up my Nintendo Switch and we played some Mario Kart for a round and an hour and a half or so. At some time later, my parents and my cousin's parents told us they were headed out to my grandparents' house for a drink. Me and my cousin nodded and continued our game, while my sister stayed on the couch and my oldest cousin Abel was chatting with his friends through his phone. The time being was fine. Me and my cousin continued playing different games at times, but each and every few minutes, his phone would go off with either a call or a message. At some point, I asked him about it. He responded with a nervous laugh and said, "Oh, it's nothing. My friend has just been a bit pissed off with me. Let's just continue playing." I was insistent on him telling me, but he always just rejected me. Soon enough, I gave up and just started playing more games with him. We got bored and ended up watching a movie with some leftover pizza that we had in our fridge and some fruit punch. Then Alex told me he had to head to the bathroom and that he would be back. Once he left, though, his phone went off again. I know I shouldn't have gone through his phone, but I was curious, so I checked his notifications and there was a text message from someone named Johnny. I've heard about John before. He's Alex's closest friend, so I guess it wouldn't hurt to check what he wrote. I opened the message and saw about 15 unread messages, almost all of them being either in caps or just slurs and bad words. One that caught my eye was one that read, "You bitch, I know where you are. Don't ignore me. I'll fucking kill you and that bitch." I was confused. Who was he talking about? Then John wrote another message. "I'm outside the house. You better get out here now or I'll force myself in." I dropped the phone. A shiver ran up my spine. Then I heard footsteps behind me and saw Alex. He asked what was wrong, but before I could answer, we heard the sound of glass shattering, and me and my cousin gasped and ran into the room where my sister was in, with our older cousin shortly behind us. "What the hell was that?" Abel said. At this point, my sister was in tears, while I could feel my vision begin to blur. I kept my composure and remained still. We all hid down in my sister's desk while my older cousin remained alongside the door, locking it and pulling his phone out to call the cops and then our parents. I held my breath and began to cry quietly, and I could feel my hands begin to quiver. I looked over at Alex's phone. It was booming with messages from Johnny, and I could tell Alex was terrified. Then we heard the door banging, and that's when my sister screamed and wailed our crying. "Alex, I know you're in there, you shit. Let me in." It was Johnny. I could tell from his deep voice, and I suppose that Alex did too. Then we heard the cry of sirens and then a sudden flood of footsteps. Bangs, yelling, shouts, and a gunshot. Abel unlocked the door, and what we saw horrified us. We saw Johnny on the floor with a police officer above him, pushing down, unable to let him get up. Johnny was covered in various scratch marks and bruises, and soon looked up at us and gave an angry expression. "You bitch! Alex, I swear I'll kill you." And that's the last of what we heard from him. But what I do know was that he had managed to break into our house by breaking the back window located in our kitchen. He had a pistol in his hand and was planning to shoot my cousin. When he was charged and sentenced, I asked my cousin why Johnny had wanted to do such a thing, since they have been really close friends. Apparently, Alex said that Johnny had started to get involved with a series of drugs and had wanted him to join. But when he refused, he and his other friend Carlos reported him for drug abuse, and since he was underage, and when he was taken, he had visited him in juvenile prison that Johnny had threatened him. I was terrified, but that's when I asked him, "Wait, how did he get out early from prison?" Alex just looked at me and shook his head. Right now, Alex has been visiting his therapist and getting prepared for graduation, while I am just entering high school. Honestly, I didn't think I've experienced a more horrid situation in my life.